to retaliate. But, Barkha, I think it is a mistake to engage in a siege against the entire population of Gaza. I think it's a mistake to target the 2.3 million people of Gaza, even if Hamas is responsible for that. I think it's a mistake for Israel to allow that to happen. I think that Israel has to do everything in its power to limit civilian casualties. They have to work together with the United States and Egypt to provide the ability for a safe route of passage for innocent Gaza Palestinians to get out. Not anyone that wants to leave, not militants, but certainly you can imagine children, women, the elderly, the infirm, let them get out of Gaza. Find a way. Right now, there isn't such a way. That needs to happen as well. I mean, the Israelis they don't target civilians. They do send leaflets to buildings to let people know that they need to evacuate before they bomb. I mean, Israel is not the moral equivalent of Hamas or ISIS and will not be. But there's a very big difference, Barkha, in this environment between doing the minimum and doing the maximum. And the lives of hundreds of thousands of Palestinians, and I'm not overestimating that, literally hang in the balance here.
And therefore, you're saying that before the Israelis go in with a ground incursion, before they sort of continue further with this sort of blockade of food, fuel, even water, before they do indiscriminate air bombs, there should be a way to get women, children, elderly, at the very least, who are ready to leave out of Gaza.
And aid into Gaza from the UN, through Egypt, from other countries, through Egypt, to ensure that hospitals have what they need to take care of people. And again, I understand that Hamas makes that more difficult. I understand that Hamas has not made it easy, that they're more than happy to take any dual-use goods and use them for their own military purposes at the expense of the Palestinian people. This is going to be made harder by Hamas at every step of the way. But I'm telling you that if you are Israel, the only saving grace here, is that Israel is not facing an existential threat to their nation. They can defend themselves. They failed because of the Netanyahu government, because of the short-sightedness, because of the selfishness of the Netanyahu government. But they have the weaponry, they have the training. They have just mobilized an additional 300,000 Israelis for the army. And there are young Israeli men and women from all over the world that are voluntarily flying back to Tel Aviv to fight. This is not like in Russia, where the Russians engage in a mobilization and all of the cars go the other way, Barkha. Hundreds of thousands streaming, getting the hell out of that country because they don't want to fight for the Russians. Everyone with an Israeli passport is prepared to sign up to defend their nation. So, I mean, that's something the Israelis can be proud of, but it also allows them to be better, allows them to be more human, to be more humane, allows them to remind themselves that not all Palestinians are terrorists. I mean, there is a moral equivalence between an Israeli child and a Palestinian child. They're the same. They're the absolute same. And any of them that are killed in battle, it's a tragedy. And the Israelis know that. Hamas does not care, but Israel does. Israel does.
How much pressure do you think the Americans could apply at this moment to Israel to ensure the kind of humanitarian thoughtfulness that you are referencing?
I think America can be helpful. I think America can engage diplomatically with Egypt. They can provide financial support. They can marshal that support from other countries. They can leverage that. I will tell you, Barkha, I think in this environment, for the near future, it is very hard for the Americans to put pressure on Israel, not least because there is such bipartisan outrage in the United States for all of these horrible images that President Biden was just shown by Netanyahu in their conversation, that Secretary Blinken was shown in Israel meeting with Netanyahu, that all of these images that you're seeing on social media and in the mainstream media, it is very, very hard for the Americans to take a step back and say, no, 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 Israel, here's what you need to do. I mean, I'm an American, but I mean, I'm speaking to you as a political scientist who's done this work for 30 years of my life. It's much easier for me to say, here is what I think should happen. Here's my understanding of what's happening on the ground in Palestine. Here's what my understanding of what's happening on the ground for the Americans. I think for an American political official, which I am not, that is a much greater challenge.